Did you ever experience a huge release after an intense scene, an emotional release? Do you sometimes feel overwhelmed with it? And would you like to know more about how to handle this? This video is about that. It's called subdropping. What happens actually is that all the pheromones, all the adrenaline is slowly leaving your body. I think it also has a bit to do with the fact that, in an intense scene, you're connecting so deeply and it's such an intimate process. It's like you've been together like this and now you have to separate again. I think it's also somehow, in some way, it's the pain of the separation. In that sense, usually also the dom can have an emotional release as well. In my experience, it's a lot more intense for the submissive, especially when they're processing a lot of pain or humiliation, or they went really deep or broke through, or then there is a lot of emotional release after that. I can see that the more intense my scene is, it's not always, but the more intense my scene is and the bigger the breakthrough, and the more I could surrender into it, the harder my drop is after that. It's not always, but I tend to have drops quite a bit. I had one scene that wasn't even that intense a week ago or so, and the only thing that my master did was he let me stand on my toes on a chain that was going through my pussy lips and my ass, so like this, it was connected to the ceiling, and he let me stand on that, and I entered subspace. After at one point I killed the scene because my master continued until I said red. Which was one of the first times that I actually used red. I had a huge emotional release after that. Then I just had to cry, and I'm just like really crawling all the way in together. I'm very cold then. That's my subdropping. And then the first thing that my master will do is taking care of me. Of course, he will always take care of himself too, but I go first, and he will first make sure that I'm okay. And this is how you handle subspace as a dominant. As a dominant, your submissive, if she gets there, she started crying, or you see that she becomes very quiet, there's a few things that you need to do. And first of all is make sure that she's having all the practical, the physical stuff that she needs. For instance, make sure that there is something to eat, something to drink. Make sure that she's warm. For me, it's very important. I always get cold when I get emotional, and especially when I go very deep. So to me, I usually always play, and I have a clean bed that is not wet or covered with wax or so, with a blanket and a pillow. And that's my place where I can go after we did a scene. So make sure that they're warm, taken care of. Some submissives want to be cuddled and held. I do, but not everyone. Some also love just to be quiet for a while, sit in a corner with a cup of tea and just process it, and make sure that they keep calm and calm down. And there are many ways that submissives can react on their subspace usually, but they can drop after a scene. And just especially if you've been there before, and you're playing with someone else and you know it's going to be an intense scene, and even if you don't know if it's going to be an intense scene, discuss upfront what is the type of aftercare that you need. So because subdrop can be very unexpected also. Sometimes the scene that we had with the chain, it wasn't even planned. It was just that, we were playing around a bit with the chains, and we were actually having fun, and we were actually preparing for the scene that we were going to do that afternoon. And my master was just for fun hanging me there, and I dropped into subspace like in 2 minutes or so, and he kept me there for over 20 minutes for sure, because that's the type that we know. But he said that probably it was longer even. I don't know, because I lost all idea of time. So I think it's a good idea to talk about it anyway. If you play with someone new, if you're together, you probably know already a bit what they need, and it's not a bad thing, especially after a session ended. If you need something different than usual, just express it. I really wanted food. I was starving. So, I mean, he asked if there was anything that I wanted now. And I just said, like, I would love to have something with salt and nuts and a bit of water and a cup of tea. I mean, I always want tea. I mean, it doesn't matter what the temperature is. I just want tea. I'm just all over, like, all the way into warm things. That's for me. For everyone else, it's different. Also, to deal with subdropping is the worst thing that you can do is fight it. Allow it to be. Because the moment that you're going to fight it, that's the moment that you're going to force with your body, you're going to force the emotions to stay inside. And these emotions want to get out. And they need to be out. Because it's something, it brought up something in your, I mean, it doesn't really have to, it's not like it's bringing up bad childhood memories or something. It can just be that there is some hidden fear that is addressed, or sadness that you never could address before, and now it found a way out. Allow it to be. It has a place in your life, and it definitely has a place to acknowledge it. So acknowledge that it's there, allow it, and let it happen. If you play, I mean, I said it so many times, don't use drugs, especially if you're like in a really bad subdrop. I actually made this video because I saw a question about this, and the woman said that she had a huge subdrop, and she said, usually I never did that so bad, and now it's very bad, so what can I do to fight it? So that was the first thing that I said, please don't fight it. But she said that she was using something. If you do that, I mean, especially if you're using like marijuana or weed or grass, I'm not sure what that's called in English actually, the stuff that we smoke all the time in Holland, like you guys always think. That's the type of stuff that is increasing all the emotions that you feel. It makes it bigger. It enlarges everything. So if you're sad, using soft drugs will make that experience more intense. If your subdrop is so heavy that you're not sure how to handle it, just stop using drugs. It might be that you need alone time. It's okay. I mean, don't force yourself to be there for your dominant if you just really can't have it right now. Sometimes it happens that like every expression is enlarged, so sounds are more intense, and also feelings are more intense, and your body is just not ready for it. Just be very clear. It's all about communication, and especially in subspace, in subdrop, you're vulnerable. But after you had the biggest drop and you're back to earth, and there's taken and your master took care of your physical and your mental state being, that's the time that you should talk about it, that you report, and that you can share what it was like and what you liked and what not, and how you could do that, and from both sides. So that is the time that you can also see how you can improve the way that you handle each other's subspace. Have fun and play with passion.